Welcome to Parnell Park for this go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship semi-final between Faughs and Castleknock. It is the Senior 2 semi-final. Already in the final, Whitehall, Colmkill. But in a way, Joe Fortune, this is kind of a final like last night, because the winner will play Senior 1 Hurling next year.
Yeah, look, there's a massive prize for both clubs here today, same as last night. The excitement here last night in an extra time was just phenomenal for both clubs, and Whitehall came through by a point. Ballantyre very, very unlucky, but you know, Whitehall, just at the end you could see what it meant to them as a club, and it means the same to both of these clubs here today. Like, Faughs have been there, they've been in that category before, they've been in Senior A hurling, but for Castleknock with a new team coming through and a young team coming through, like spearheaded with Kieran as well up front. Look, it's a big day for both clubs, and I'm sure a day that the both managements are looking forward to.
What kind of game are you expecting?
I think conditions are going to play for both games today, Ocean. I think there's going to be a significant, like for people who are not here, like it's a wet, damp day, and you know the rain every now and again, like it's really heavy. It's going to come down as well, I think, to a bit of experience. You know, obviously Kieran Kilkenny will lead the line for Castleknock, and you know he's obviously surrounded by some really good young players that are coming through as well. And young Keano Dooling, I like him at 6. He's a really good up and coming player as well. And then with Faughs, I suppose you have to look at the fact that they have the likes of Kieran Brennan, who's been around for years, and you've also got like Carlo Mahoney, Emmett McKenna. You know, like a good spine to the team with O'Shea as well, and Fergal Heavey up front. So I'd expect, look, both of these teams at the start of the year would have been aspiring to kind of get into this position, and you know there's a huge prize, so I'd say it'll be a fair battle now in the conditions that are there today.
Well, Castleknock lost their first 2 matches to Finbars and Whitehall by a goal in both games. Eamon Dillon and Cormac Costello, wouldn't you know, doing the damage for their opponents in those 2 matches. But then they beat Ballantyre 117 to 115. We saw last night how good Ballantyre actually are. 224 to 113 was the score against Scull Connell. That led to a second place finish in the group behind Whitehall. In the quarter final, they beat Ballyboden by a goal. Faughs beat Thomas Davis 421 to 312, beat Crooks 313 to 15 points, overcame Nafina 525 to 12 points, and Ballyboden 121 to 113 in the group game. They won that group, so went straight through to the semi-finals, where obviously they now face Castleknock. They put up some scores, don't they, Faughs?
Yeah, they do. It's fair shooting. I know, even I suppose we've spoken about over the last couple of weeks, even in other counties, about what that break is like, that kind of 4 or 5 week break. If you do top the group, you end up missing kind of a round of matches, and I know they've been down. Faughs have been down in Clare playing a couple of games as well, and in Carlow as well. So look, Johnny Greville will have them well ready for today, and I suppose the big thing for me is that championship pace that Castleknock will live, because the scoring exploits for Faughs for the last few weeks has been phenomenal at this level. But look, like I said, Oisin, they've been there before, and they've got some seriously good young players coming through as well, even underage. You know, the capacity that's there now to develop them back into what was a huge powerhouse for Dublin hurling over the last number of years.
If that was St Mullins they faced in Carlow, that's some challenge. St Mullins won the Carlow title this year. They have a long wait. They have a 3-month wait to the AIB Leinster Club Championship, so I'm sure that Faughs were grateful for the challenge, as were St Mullins. A lot of those players actually won a junior football title in Carlow recently, so very successful time for that club. Castleknock, we all know how good they are. They're a dual club. Many of these players part of the senior football team that got to the group stages in Senior 1 football, but they want to play Senior 1 hurling. Kieran Kilkenny, you've already mentioned him, so let's talk about Owen Sawyer, a goal-getter supreme. He needs to be watched today from the Faughs point of view, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, and it's pace, and it's again that directness I suppose we spoke about last night with the likes of Considine and Hayes, that he has that in abundance as well, and they're going to look for him. They're going to look to make sure that he's an outball, and again, when he's attacking that goal, he has that one thing on his mind. And you know, I just think Kieran, look, we've always spoken about how he's been a massive loss. He's a huge addition obviously for the Dublin footballers, but Kieran Kilkenny, in that kind of 09-11, that era, like, he was just phenomenal as an underage hurler with Costello. So it's great to see him back, and I think it's really important that those players carry that kind of significance into their club campaign as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Kieran's like today.
Should be a good encounter. Castleknock in the blue and gold, Faughs in the green and gold. 2 proud hurling entities. One, I think it's fair to say, slightly older than the other, Faughs, celebrating the centenary of representing Dublin in the championship way back when, and of course winning the All-Ireland for Dublin and for the club, whereas Castleknock have only been around not even 20 years, so it's old meeting young here today.
It is, and when you look at that roll of honour of Senior Championships won in Dublin, I think you have to give credit to the people that are in Faughs, and I know they've lost some really people that are very close to them over the last couple of years out there as well, but they're putting massive work in at underage level to try and get back to where they were, because like for so many years in Dublin hurling, Faughs were the team that kind of, were the pinnacle of what teams were aspiring to be, and I suppose that's been overtaken now by some of the Southside clubs as well. But I've no doubt the people that are in the background in Faughs and in Castleknock are putting huge huge effort, and they want to get back to play Senior A hurling.
And they're back playing Junior A hurling as well, because their Junior Bs won their semi-final against Lucan today, 228 to 114. Congratulations to them and the management team of Frank Bennett, Ty Clifford and Calum Bean, leading them back to Junior A. So an early boost for Faughs this morning. Can they get another one here this afternoon? We're about to throw in between Faughs and Castleknock in the first of a double header in the go-ahead Senior Hurling Dublin Championship. This is the Senior 2 semi-final. Coming up a little bit later on, we've got the Senior 1 semi-final between Coola and Nafina. Kilmacud Crokes awaiting the winners in the final. They beat Ballyboden last night. You can watch that one back on the RTE player. Our referee today, by the way, speaking of Nafina, is Luke Lacey of Nafina, and he's assisted by Finbar Gaffney, who's also of Nafina. The players spreading out into their positions. What do you expect early on in this game?
I think it's going to be a test of the conditions. I think it's going to be physical, and I think Faughs will try to get what you spoke about a few minutes ago. They have a high scoring chart over the last number of weeks. I think Faughs will try to get ahead early, but I can see a lot of heavy hits going in now early as well. I'll just kind of lay down a mantle of where this game is going to go. John
Boyle, the manager of Castleknock, played for St. Bridget's at senior level, but originally from Castleknock, and Johnny Greville of Westmeath in charge of Faughs, a man you know very well and will know even better by the end of next season, because he's going in with you, isn't he? He
is, yeah. Looking forward to getting Johnny on board. He's been very successful in a lot of capacities in Westmeath, and been involved in underage capacity up there as well. Very well respected, so that'll start, please God, now in the next couple of weeks.
So as we say, the old Faughs against the relatively new Castleknock, who were around since about 1998 or something like that, battling for it as David Croke goes out over the line, and it is a Castleknock ball. Kieran Kilkenny perched on that 20 metre line. They'll try and work it down towards him. Kieran Murphy comes off a Faughs player and goes out for a line ball to Castleknock. Conor O'Shea still the centre back for Faughs, a driving force for this team. Dad Eamon, obviously a well-known coach, and he's actually underneath us in the terrace here today.
Yeah, Conor's been really good for him for the last number of years. Came across him a couple of times with Bowden as well, and he really holds. He's a linchpin for that half back line.
Kieran Murphy teeing this one up. Didn't quite catch it. Right chasing after the Sean Ryan. He's not going to get there. Well, we're getting into winter hurling now. Those scrambles will become more commonplace. Kieran Brennan batted away. Might fall kindly here for Emmett McKenna. Gets away from McKenna. Castleknock win it back. McSherry. Forker, one of the dual stars we mentioned, looking inside. Tried to get it to James O'Brien. Will it go out over the line? No, it won't. Sweeping it up, Gavin Kenny. Kenny has to be careful, and is. Got it to Sean MacDonald. Dropping deep enough, Fergal Heavey doesn't get their line ball for Castleknock.
Yeah, you can see the pace of Kilkenny inside there when that ball went in over the top. Like he chased the full back down, and again, any ball that's going to go in there, he's going to be dangerous, and you can see the Castleknock lads looking for him every time they have an opportunity to put ball inside.
Paul Burke lining it up. Decent clearance from Jack McVeigh. Trying to balance it on the stick is James O'Brien. O'Brien lets one go and hits it wide. First wide of the game.
Yeah, it looks lively though. Again, likes wrists again. He broke away from the tackle well, but look again for people that are at home, you can see that ball is very, very wet, and the ground has become heavy. Obviously, with the match last night as well. In fairness to grounds people here in Parnell Park, it looks phenomenal. But I think the weather is going to have an impact on today's games.
Trying to drive on here is Nagel. Nagel squeezed out, but was he fouled? The referee says he was. It's a free in.
Yeah, I think Senan Forker just held his arm, and again, good refereeing there from Luke Lacey, because he saw that the play was developing, but at the same time just a little bit kind of over enamoured with the tackle on the arm.
Carlo Mahoney will come over to take this one. He's around many years. Was a goalkeeper at one stage of his career. Played underage for Dublin.
I can remember Carl and Kieran Brennan as well. Kieran Brennan, I always kind of compare himself, I know, and Niall McMorrow are quite friendly, but he's that same kind of character about him. He has the same kind of feet and wrists, and this is important for just to settle him down.
His dad Tommy is actually the club GPO, former Dublin player himself.
It's a great strike.
Fantastic from Carlo Mahoney, and that's the lead for Faughs. It's a good catch from the bat down by Emmett McKenna. Castleknock trying to get it back into Evan McSherry, but he couldn't find a fellow blue and gold jersey. Trying to make his way out is Kieran Nagel. Now it falls the way of David Croke, but he couldn't make it his. Spills kindly for Faughs. Carlo Mahoney. That's actually Eamon Hennessy who got out to it. Now it's taken up by Liam Mostyn. Looking for their first from play, their second of the game, and they've got it from Mostyn.
That's a great score.
Such a big player for them.
Yeah, great score off his left hand side, and didn't faze him that he was about 50 yards out, and just really sweet strike over the bar.
Great score by Mostyn. So experienced. Conor O'Shea spilt it. Niall O'Callaghan. Clever play by the goalkeeper, just kind of let it bounce wide. Smart play by Eddie Hogan.
You can see Gavin Kenny was coming out after Kieran Kilkenny now, but now he's realised that the Kieran's gone out to the 40, so Gavin's gone back inside, and you can see there's always one or two players around making sure that Kilkenny doesn't get on ball quick.
Heavey tried to get there, hoovered up by Kieran Murphy. Murphy turning smartly, turning away from Kieran Brennan. Soaking it up, Cian Boyle. Good score getter, Cian Boyle. Son of the manager. Cian Boyle still going. That's a mesmeric run. Just took too much out of it. He'll go again, but he's surrounded. And it's a 65. Initially the umpire was waving it wide and then stuck his hand in the air. It's a 65. So in the end, Cian Boyle showed battling qualities to get that 65, but should he have passed it earlier?
Again, if you look where he is, even where he's coming out from, like, you have maybe 5 Faughs defenders around young Boyle when he was on his own, and like Castleknock have set up quite defensively because they've actually got 2 extra men sitting here in the 6th position. So obviously centre back is sitting on his own, O'Dooling, but then he has another player beside him too. So it's quite defensive from Castleknock, which means that young Boyle, when he's going through, has no real support to pop the ball off to.
Cian O'Dooling, the grandson of Donncha O'Dooling, the legendary broadcaster. Cian Boyle taking his time here, looking to get his team's first score. That looks like it's straying off. No, goes over. Cian Boyle gets the first score for Castleknock.
Yeah, on a day like that, a day like that, it's a great one for him to get, especially after the run he made inside, and 65 yards out, obviously. But again, a good score to get on a day like that.
Celebrates his 21st next week. He'd love to go into his 22nd year as a Senior 1 hurler. Faughs trying to respond here. Ball spill as Sean Ryan beaten to it, moved off to Kieran Brennan, goes to ground. Escaping for Castleknock, Evan McSherry. That's a good old school long ball. Cian Boyle tries to take it, but sweeping it up is Conor O'Shea. Very clever ball by O'Shea, gave it to O'Mahony. David Croke. That's Carlo Mahoney. I think he was having a go, but he was hooked. Great work by Castleknock. Lots of hooking, lots of blocking there. It's so intense. Great turnover from Nagel. Now it's David Croke. It's a congested corner that he's hit that into. O'Dooling got there. Castleknock win the free.
Yeah, and you can see as well Conor O'Shea calling people back because there's 40 yards either side of the full forward in there. So if he could hit the ball that long, it's a loss. You can see Conor just dropping back in now.
O'Dooling. Owen Sawyer tried to make that one his. Squirted out kindly for Faughs. And that will be a line ball to Castleknock. Clever pass. Niall O'Callaghan spills it out over the line.
Good tackling there by Faughs, and again they seem to be very well set up, just shape wise as well. You can see they've options, they've two lads inside and they're trying to push up on that spare 6 that Castleknock have, but again you can see Conor O'Shea, he's orchestrating an awful lot there from that kind of central position.
McVeigh, good take, good turn. Kieran Brennan trying to get away from Kieran Murphy. Was that a foul from behind? The referee thinks it was, and Carlo Mahoney will step up again.
Yeah, like James O'Brien, he's shown very well there. He's not the most physically big man in the world, but at the same time he's shown very well, and he's just kind of a clip in the back there that kind of got him to the ground. So another opportunity for Faughs to get ball on the board.
O'Mahony looking for his second of the game. And getting it. Falls kindly, well initially fell kindly for Eamon Hennessy, but the Kilkenny man just couldn't get it into his hand. Castleknock turn it over. O'Dooling, lovely pass. Kieran Murphy has a lot of time here, so he's going to have a go. Is that going to draw in? No.
Again, just the inside forwards look frustrated because they have an opportunity there to maybe get a ball into a hand inside to make sure that a Kilkenny or a Sawyer or a Hogue gets on ball, but unfortunately goes wide. It's a good one.
Fergal Heavey, his first of the game, won the break, took the score. Jack McVeigh tries to make it his. Kieran Kilkenny in hot pursuit. Now trying to scoop it up. Niall O'Callaghan, who ran out of room. But it's a Castleknock ball. It'll be free. That'll be struck by Cian Boyle.
I think Jack McVeigh thought he was out beforehand, but again, they need to get Kieran on ball quickly because there's nobody inside really apart from young Boyle with that run on the inside. There's nobody really showing any sort of danger yet, and in fairness the half back line for Faughs are well on top. Score.
Beautifully struck. Cian Boyle gets his second. Eddie Hogan firing it long, getting a stick in there was the defender. O'Dooling. Murphy. Intercepted. Might have a shot here, Emmett McKenna. One of his teammates said that was brilliant, Emmett. And it was. Great score.
Yeah, great scoring around the middle. Got again, that breaking ball seems to be working Faughs' way all the time. They seem to be hungry on the breaks. And young McKenna's impressive around the middle of the field. He's covering a lot of ground there as well.
Could be in behind here for a goal. They'll take the point. It's the wise option. Conal Purcell. Well taken point by Conal Purcell. Could have taken it on further, but said, look, the gap was narrowing, so the captain, Conal, said he'd just pop it over. Good ball by Jack McVeigh. Good take, good turn. Shot didn't match, but the free was coming anyway. James O'Brien was being fouled.
Just important as well, like you can see, like the Faughs forwards look more dangerous, especially when the ball goes inside, and like young Boyle is impressive so far, and it's just that setup that's there. Kieran has obviously come out to the 40, and I suppose when he's out there as well, maybe inside they need to work more on getting that ball into their hand quicker, but Faughs looks dangerous every time that ball goes inside.
Two of the younger crew look fairly lively, don't they? James O'Brien, Liam Mostyn.
I like Liam Mostyn at 11. Yeah, he seems he just has that natural ability to kind of get off the 11 as well, to fall into the pockets of space. So
just his second year as a senior hurler, Liam Mostyn. O'Brien only did his leaving cert this year. That gives you an indication as to how young they are. Mostyn, experience in a getting scores sense, but only his second year at senior hurling. Carlo Mahoney, his third score of the game. Kilkenny's trying to get under it. Jack McVeigh did a good job in kind of minding him and just sticking touch tight to him, making sure he didn't get anything for nothing there. Conor O'Shea skipped away from Emmett McKenna. McKenna tangling with Sawyer and getting the ball away. Breaks kindly for Kieran Murphy. Conor Purcell, not sure if he got something on that, but Faughs have it back anyway. And I wonder, will he have a goal? Liam Mostyn from a long way out. It's wide.
Yeah, he just had probably too long, because there was nobody near him, and he probably had that extra second, but he didn't need to think. And I think in that situation, cover ground, get moving, get the feet moving, because I think when you think too long about it, it can happen. You can see it.
And we mentioned O'Brien and Mostyn and the fact that they've only recently done their leaving. The discipline it takes to do your exams and to play this level of hurling, I mean, it's really impressive from those young men.
It is, but look, I've said it a number of times last night, Oisin, that the young lads that are coming through now, like, they seem to be really determined to kind of to change that mantle and change the mantle up in every club. That the 6-7 backs that Crokes had last night, young guys, 19, 20, 21 years of age, and the same. I've listened to Johnny a few times talk about how Faughs are rebuilding with young players, and you're right, and it's a testament to them and their families too, because those lads coming home have to be well looked after and fed and whatever else as well, to make sure that they can go training after being in school all day.
O'Dooling drops it to Sawyer. Sawyer trying to get away from his man, trying to get a shot off. He's got the free. He's not a man you want to give any level of space to.
Again, I suppose looking at the teams that are out there, even the physicality of some of them, like, it's testament to the work that's going on in the background in both clubs. And even looking last night, like, Kieran Kilkenny doesn't look any different, if that makes sense to people at home in comparison to a lot of the players out there. Like, it's, there's a lot of work going in now as well in all clubs in regards to that athletic development side of things, and it's really important going forward, I suppose, for Dublin hurling.
Cian Boyle knocks it over, his third of the game. Trying to make a break there was Fergal Heavey. Body swarming around. Fell kindly for Castleknock and sent away by Davy Bowen. Intercepted though. Jack McVeigh. He's had a fine game, hasn't he, Jack McVeigh? Here's Emmett McKenna looking for his second. This one veers off and wide.
No, Jack McVeigh is strong. He's a big boy there as well. Like, he's well able to hurl, and he's intelligent as well with his use of the ball as a 5, and he's following Kilkenny now everywhere he goes.
Conway went long. Kilkenny is probing. Kilkenny, a break goes his way. No, it doesn't. He fouled his man. It's a free out.
It's harsh, I think. I think he might have been falling beforehand, but we'll give Luke Lacey the benefit of the doubt, because he's been very good so far. We haven't had to speak about him, and he's been up and tight in regards to the play. But if Kilkenny was away there now, it was going to be a big chance for Castleknock to get a goal.
Conor O'Shea standing over this one. Originally from Salthill, Knocknacara in Galway, where they've just put up a new hurling wall. Ball breaks kindly. Evan McSherry, Cian Boyle. O'Dooling.
It's very defensive there, Oisin. There must be 12 Castleknock lads in there, and here we go now, but there's only 3 forwards up front.
Sawyer, O'Brien and Kilkenny on the attack. And Faughs just do enough to thwart it. Well, they've given away a free, but on the 65, and when you consider Castleknock had it in a very good position much further up, Faughs would nearly take that.
Yeah, I suppose the defensive structure that Castleknock have just doesn't allow for the ball to be hit in long, because Faughs end up then having kind of 5 or 6 lads back, because of Castleknock are so sucked back into it. So it's a lot to ask of an inside forward line. I can see management changing that as well. Maybe it's to curtail the fact what you said earlier on, the stat in regards to the scoring that Faughs have been doing over the last kind of couple of games, and I suppose the feeling is to kind of keep them somewhat subdued until they can cut loose themselves.
Boyle hits it wide. Eddie Hogan, one of 2 Hogans in the squad that are goalkeepers. His brother's on the bench, trying to make a break from his Conor Purcell. The free in won by Castleknock.
Yeah, he did really well there. Do you know, if your man's leg had been an inch closer, he could have been in Beaumont for the rest of the week. But it was a really hard won ball, and got dragged back then, which leads to a free now for Castleknock. And look, if young Boyle can get this, there's only a point in it.
Gavin Kenny getting the yellow card. He's played with Faughs a long time, known as one of the quiet men of the team. But he just gets about his work, doesn't mess around, turns up for every session. Here's Boyle.
Similar to yourself, Ush. Yep.
Slots it over. 2 in a row for Kieran Boyle. They're back to within 1. And that comes off O'Mahony, and it's out for a line ball to Castleknock.
Yeah, they're celebrating that too, and there's loads of life over on the line there as well, like you can see it, and I think that's important as well, because you can see, look what it means to these 2 clubs here now to get an opportunity and a chance to go up to Senior A next year. It'll be huge for the club, and I suppose for the young lads coming through.
Well, John Boyle is the manager of Castleknock. Amongst his backroom team are Brian Fox, who's originally a Whitehall Cullen Kills man. They had a great day yesterday. Ronan Byrne, who's from Wicklow, but he's involved because he would have worked with Cian O'Dooling in the Trinity hurling team. Michael Phelan, a Tipperary man, also doing a bit of work with them. Sean O'Brien launches this one. He was outnumbered, but he still won the ball. Brennan inside. Good ball as well. Emmett McKenna wins the free in. Did really well there because he had 2 players around him. They didn't need to foul him, but they've effectively copped up a point.
I go back to that player you mentioned earlier on, Fergal Heavey. He looks dangerous every time he comes out towards the ball, and popped the ball off. And in fairness to McKenna, he was going direct down the middle and just dragged down for a free. It's funny, just from a puck out point of view as well, like from a strategy point of view, everything seems to be going long. There's nobody working the ball through the lines really. It's more expecting their half forward line or midfield to win it. So that's something that maybe both managements might look at in the second half, especially if you have the extra defenders, which Castleknock seem to have the way they're set up.
That's a good score by Carl O'Mahony, his 4th of the game. Ball won by Emmett McKenna. Inch perfect pass. Nice turn, James O'Brien. Inside, Kieran Brennan.
Yep.
What a goal, what a finish.
What a finish, and you hear me talking about it all the time, this lateral thing of ball, and the ball is played crossfield. Give your forward a chance to win the ball, takes the man on into Brennan, and Brennan wasn't missing from there. Great goal. Really
strong finish. A one-handed effort. Made it look easy. It's anything but. He's been in or around Dublin panels in the past, Brennan, but he's been unlucky with injuries. We saw his quality there. Here's Boyle, his quality as well. But a fantastic block down. Might break kindly for Senan Forker. No, it doesn't. Comes to Kieran Nagel. And that's a hard one to call. That happened right under us. It's going to Castleknock.
Yeah, when Brennan gets inside, I said it before, he's dangerous, and there was a couple of games last year and this year where he wasn't starting, especially and I'd say that bit between the teeth as well, and he looks in good shape out there, so when he got inside he finished the goal really well.
A fantastic move, it was a great finish, but it was great build-up play to him as well. Here's Kieran Kilkenny. Has to go backwards. Paul Burke looking for Boyle. Getting the stick in there with Sean MacDonald. Boyle gets it up, but he's blocked down by Carl O'Mahony. Eddie Hogan. Sean O'Brien. Keep going is the shout. And he will.
That's good.
Just muscled off it there, the Faughs forward. That was Heavey. O'Dooling. Sean Ryan cushions it down the wing. Kilkenny's trying to get under it. McVeigh there again. And then it falls kindly for Conor O'Shea. Senan Forker moved it off to Sean Ryan. Back inside. Was that a foul on Darragh O'Connell? I think it was. Fairness to James O'Brien, I think he knew straight away. Well, it wasn't James O'Brien, was it? Was it Eamon Hennessy? It was Eamon Hennessy.
Yeah, just round the head, and I suppose the Castleknock man hit the ground, and it's a yellow card. And look, in fairness, you have to give it to Luke. I think he's right there for that one.
First year with Faughs for Eamon Hennessy, originally from Kilkenny. Ended up playing with Faughs because his neighbour Jim Ling in Kilkenny actually played for Faughs in the past, so kept the connection alive.
And for years they would have had that country connection, wouldn't they? Faughs as a hurling club as well. They would have had guys that were in Dublin at the time, and you can see that kind of re-establishment. But I'm very impressed so far with some of the young guys inside, some of the homegrown talent as well. So you can see that there's big work going on out in the club.
Mostyn. Battling for it was Fergal Heavey, but it's 1-on-2 in favour of Castleknock. Here's Senan Forker. It's Evan McSherry, I beg your pardon. Either way, it's intercepted by David Croke. Brave from O'Dooling. He wins the free in.
Yeah, I'm not. David Croke, in fairness, the ball was there and put his body on the line too. He's a big boy as well, but look, it's a free now again. It gives Castleknock a chance to get a point back.
Boyle. It's wide.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed. It's 2 in a row now, I think, for him as well. And he'd started off really well on the frees, and it's 2 from a kind of similar position as well. So he'll be disappointed with that one.
Eddie Hogan. Himself and his brother Kevin, who's the sub-keeper, were practicing puckouts before the game, and Kevin was inside the opposite 65 from where his brother was pucking, and every single one of them straight into the lava. Castleknock win a free, dropping back to take it. Niall O'Callaghan. Well, he initially ran over to take it. I think it'll be O'Dooling. No, it's Boyle who's coming back to have a go.
I'm probably being a bit personal here. I'd love to see Luke Swan get a goal at this as well, because there was so much talk about him as an underage hurler coming through, and I know he's had a bit of misfortune with his with injuries and stuff. But again, he's somebody who I would have highly regarded in the last number of years as a minor, and I just think a day like today, if he can get ball inside to somebody like Luke Swan, he could cause serious problems.
Boyle. It's going to drop. Danger not dealt with. The shot taken by Neil Hogan, but there was just too many bodies back there, and now it falls the way of Kieran Nagel. Well, he did the right thing, Hogan. He shot for goal, but he was unlucky. Heavey squirts it forward, but O'Dooling was waiting for it. O'Dooling tries to shake off Brennan.
Ball is out,
Line ball to Castleknock.
Yeah, O'Shea as well did it very well in there as well. A lot of brave defending from Faughs in there when the shot was on. But on a day like today, anything can happen, as we've seen over the last few weeks too.
Well, if Castleknock could get a couple of scores before the break, it would just settle them down. Neil Hogan unlucky there. Still only 18. Dublin under 20 player last year. The minors the year before. He's another one who can take frees actually. Jack McVeigh has to be careful, and did really well there to just drag it to Nagel. Now it's to Conor O'Shea. Beautifully moved into the path of Eamon Hennessy. Hennessy letting it go.
Strike.
And sailing it over. His first of the game.
Yeah, lovely wristy strike. Reminds me actually of a former clubmate of a lot of those lads out there. Young Bennett, Chris Bennett, like similar kind of style, the way he strikes a ball. Chris is over in Australia now, I think. A big loss, I think, for Faughs as well as a club, because again, somebody at underage level with Dublin had massive potential.
It was a nice sweep move to get it to Hennessy in the first place, wasn't it? They tried to respond. Evan McSherry, Boyle goes for it and gets it. That's a fantastic goal by Kieran Boyle.
This is brave as well, like, because the easiest thing to do, I know you said it earlier on about, you know, the right thing, put it over the bar, but like when you're in there, wet day, bounce the ball off the ground, it gives the keeper very little chance. So one of the Faughs players down here injured now, but a great goal by young Boyle.
Well, he has a knack. Got the goal against Ballyboden, has got a big one here.
And they needed that, Oisín. I think you're right, sorry. You're right, because they know they were going to be going in kind of 6 points down at half time, and you're trying to lift the troops again, like, you know, but we're nearly at half time. That's a really important goal for Castleknock as a team. And like, young Boyle has looked dangerous, and if you think, look, he's had 2 frees as well that he probably in his own, you know, in his sleep he'd probably put over the bar normally, and he'd be disappointed. So they're still well in the game, and it's tight so far.
Faughs leading by 3 as we head to injury time. Let's have a look at the Faughs goal. Kieran Brennan with a one-handed finish. Again, made it look easy. It's anything but. Good ball to him. 3 around him. Had to give himself enough space to get a swing, and he did. Yeah,
he did, but young Heavey did really well coming along the end line as well, and that the work was done, and Brennan won't miss when he gets in close like that.
We'll get a look at the rest of the highlights of the half, including that brilliant Kieran Boyle Castleknock goal at half time. You won't have to wait too long for that. Eddie Hogan. It's one of those scrambles in which a referee, he's a bit like the rest of us, he can only look on. Who knows what's happening in there. Kicked on by Kilkenny, goes after his own break, left it behind, and it's swept up by O'Shea. It was actually McVeigh, I beg your pardon. Either way, O'Dooling intercepts it. Clever ball by O'Dooling. Long ball sent by Davy Bowen. Boyle takes it wonderfully. Boyle has a man inside. Hogan wants it. Boyle's still going. And it's a free in.
He's a dancer, isn't he? The way he just takes it on, and he had a man outside him as well. I know the half-back wasn't too happy here with the ball that was sent in, but it gave Boyle a chance to go at him. But he's great feet, and he's brave as well. I like the way he takes the man on every single time.
I can understand him going for goal there, but should he have just popped it to Neil Hogan?
Yeah, maybe. I'd say Hogan would have said that, but Boyle, like, I suppose the last time he got in, he took his chance, and he looks dangerous every time.
Kieran Boyle, as we say, 21 next week. He's only getting better. He'll pop this free over. Well, 2 scores in a row. One of them a goal, one of them a point from a free. Has got Castleknock sitting pretty in injury time.
Yeah, it's got them well back into it. You know, like a couple of minutes ago now, they were 7 points, 8 points down. They've really come back in the last couple of minutes.
It was 1-7-5 when they scored the goal. They actually added a point, so there was 6 points between them at one stage. And that's half time. 1-8 plays 1-6. Joe, what have you made of it?
Yeah, it's been entertaining, I suppose. Look, it's been a little bit sloppy at times, I suppose, maybe because of the conditions as well. And look, like we saw last night as well, look, sometimes people kind of question why some of these teams want to go into Senior A, because with some of the bigger clubs at times it can be hard. But look, they're very proud hurling clubs. We saw last night with Whitehall the same. But I've enjoyed it so far, to a point where, like, you've seen some of the forwards. Brennan looks dangerous every time when he gets on ball. Very impressed with young Moston at 11, and young James O'Brien as well. But look, you have to give it to Boyle as well. He really showed us a bit of spirit as well to go for that goal, because if not, there was going to be a very different team talk at half time in the Castleknock dressing room. And
just to confirm it, the yellow card flash there was for David Croke of Faughs just before that Kieran Boyle free. Let's have a look at the highlights of the first half. A really lively first half in what is a really big game, this go ahead Dublin Senior 2 hurling semi-final. Carlo Mahoney started us off with that free.
Yeah, Carl has been good on the frees and consistent, and again looking for a lot of their puck outs all the time. But like in fairness to Castleknock, like we've said, they've set up quite defensively and they're winning a lot of ball in around that half forward. They're trying to obviously make sure that the likes of the Keane Boyles and or the Liam Austins and Carl O'Mahony's are not getting on as much ball. This fella's dangerous. Like, you know, every time he gets inside, he's causing problems, and you know it's testament to the Faughs defence as well. Like, they're back and they're defending hard, but like really hard work by young Boyle, and he scored a 65. He's probably just disappointed a small bit with a couple of the frees that he missed, but like entertaining so far, Rushing. But a lot on the line for both of these clubs, because it really, you know, it doesn't really matter what happens the next day to a point. It'd be nice to bring a cup home to the club, but at the same time to get yourself back into a senior A status would be huge for the underage lads coming through.
Carl O'Mahony, who's been really decent from place balls, scored 4 frees in that first half.
Again, that's a great score out on the right hand side, and you know, you can see like he's well capable. Boyle is well capable of scoring those frees, and that's why I keep saying like it would have been so much tighter in the first half or at half time had he got those 2 that he missed.
Coming in off the wing, the captain Colin Purcell getting a good score.
Kieran Kilkenny's been quiet. I'd say Castleknock are a bit disappointed with that. Like, his touch doesn't look on for what it was. But you can't just come back to the game that we love him, that we play. You can't just switch it back on.
And he was unlucky there because he might have got in and got himself a point, and that gets you going. But he is battling hard. He is a kind of a fulcrum. He is trying to make the ball stick inside there.
Yeah, I remember a stat from 11, I think, Oisin, with himself and Costello. They got Dublin in a semi-final, I think, against Clare. I think between the two of them they scored 5-11. And I don't think represented Dublin again, like, which is a massive stat and a loss for Dublin hurling, but just looks a little bit off today, and maybe I suppose that 30 minutes now will kind of drag him on for the second half. Great finish for Brendan.
Yeah, fantastic work. Hogan going for it there, he was unlucky. Might have had a goal late in the half if Keane Boyle had passed to him, but
like, if you're Faughs there, Oisin, if you're Faughs as like, you know, as a manager, as a coach there, like, you're just saying to them, look, when we get that ball in at the diagonal inside, like, we look dangerous. You know, when Hennessy gets on ball, Heavey, James O'Brien gets on ball, they look very dangerous. But the big high ball in, which has happened in maybe in the last 10 minutes when they lost the lead, that it just doesn't work because the stature is not in there for them to win that.
McSherry inside to Boyle, great finish. Not much Hogan could do because it's one of those kind of hopping balls. Keepers hate those.
And on the day, and look, again, for people at home, I think we'll see the same in the second half or in the second game as well. Like, today, the conditions, like, that ball on the ground there is just so slippy.
And that's the one I mentioned there, where Neil Hogan was standing in space, and if Boyle had popped it to him, he might have been in on goal. But look, they got the score from the attack. That's the important thing. Credit also to James O'Brien, who got the ball to Brennan for that goal. It was a fantastic pass. We're fixating on the finish because of how good it was, but the pass to him and the way it was worked to him was good as well, and James O'Brien was taking an awful lot of credit for that as well, the corner forward for Faughs. So, half time in the Senior 2 Go Ahead Dublin Hurling Championship semi-final. The winner will play Senior 1 next year. That is a big deal for any club. At the break 2 between them. Don't forget, if you subscribe to Dubs TV on YouTube, all of the games that we show you will pop up automatically. Everything else we do as well, including draws and interviews and features and all that, will pop up as well. You can check out the Dublin GAA social media channels for all the news and what's going on around the capital's GAA scene, and of course a whole lot of other information as well. That's it for the first half. We'll be back for second half commentary shortly, so join us for that. Welcome back. The rain falling down in Parnell Park. It was raining before the match. It stopped during it, but now it's falling down again. Just before we restart this game, the Senior 2 go-ahead Dublin Hurling Championship semi-final. Congratulations to Naomh, Marnogue and St Sylvester's, who won the intermediate semis yesterday, beating Ballyboden and Fingallians. And in the Senior 3 semi-finals, Clontarf overcame Raheny and Naomh Barrogue beat Erin's-Isle, so they will play Senior 2 next season. Only one of these teams will be playing Senior 2 next season. Which one will it be? Castleknock trailing by 2 at the break against the Faughs, 1-8 to 1-6. Joe, what are your thoughts on the second half?
Yeah, I'd say both managers now at half time have kind of laid it on the line for them now that you have 30 minutes to go to Senior A hurling. I think it's going to be a huge, massive step up for either of the teams when they get up next year. But look, it's a learning process as well, and I suppose there's a whole idea of the club going to Senior A is important. But look, it's all on the line for both clubs now. But I'm sure there was a few home truths said at half time.
Well, this next 30 minutes, plus whatever might come after it, because it has to end today, is all about winning. They'll worry about whether or not they can stay in Senior 1 next year when they get there, if they get there. Here's Kilkenny. You wanted to see more of him in the second half. By luck, it comes to Purcell. Oh, it just skips away from Purcell off that wet grass. Folks have been really good on the breaks. Nagel tidying it up nicely. Great strength shown there by Conor O'Shea. A very smart man, but a very strong man as well.
Yeah, he seems to be orchestrating an awful lot from that half back line as well, and he knows as well when to draw a free and when to not. But I'd like the lads inside, if they can get that ball in earlier inside and into Faughs, I think they'll cause damage and goals.
Like his dad, Eamon, a very good coach as well, Conor O'Shea. Just skipped away there from Liam Mostyn, who is chasing after it. Paul Burke tries to make it his and does. O'Tooling overcooks it slightly, but Bohan has more than enough time to get it up onto the hurley. Tries a diag. Sawyer couldn't get there. Again breaks kindly. Here's David Croke. Croke stepped out of play.
Yeah, he did.
We're very, very close to that, so we were never going to miss it, neither did the officials.
I think he's given out there was no movement up front, that he had to take that second run, but fair play to the linesman as well there, saw it, but again he thought the inside line was quite static.
Intercepted. A wasted possession by Castleknock. Two collide. Faughs have made a change. Niall Fitzgibbon is in. The free out is given. Kieran Brennan thought he was away again.
Yeah, he put the head down, and in fairness, like Luke saw that, and Kieran had the head down unfortunately, and I was kind of for barging and steps.
Fitzgibbon, another youngster, just that he's leaving. On for the second half for Faughs.
That half back line for Faughs are impressive. Oisin, you know, they've broken an awful lot of ball out, and anything that comes in early wise, they're winning as well.
Across the park it goes from Niall O'Callaghan. Collected brilliantly by McVeigh.
He's had a fine game, Oisin, on Kieran Kilkenny, McVeigh.
Carl O'Mahony, back to McVeigh. Juggled, regathered, has O'Mahony there as the outball. O'Mahony went long when maybe he could have gone inside to Conor O'Shea, who let him know that. Still might work out for Faughs. Emmett McKenna left it behind, policed by O'Tooling. McKenna plants the feet and dinks it in towards that corner, running after Kieran Brennan, but he put too much on it. I think it's James O'Brien who's gone off for Faughs. Nope, he's still out there actually.
It's funny because I think if they played that ball about 2 or 3 seconds earlier, there was 2 spare men for Faughs that were in really goal scoring in a place where they could have got goals. So I think there's a bit of frustration inside now that the ball has not been hitting quicker.
Sean Ryan has a go, looking for the first score of the second half, and we'll have to wait a little longer. I think it's actually Eamon Hennessy, number 13 for Faughs, the Kilkenny man, who's gone off. Batting it down out of the sky, James O'Brien. He did brilliant. He's a tidy hurler, isn't he? O'Shea always looks like he has time and space. Croke with a bit of a heavy touch. Falls kindly for Sawyer. Sawyer pops it off somehow to Forker. Forker looking for Boyle, but he was just crowded out. O'Shea comes in and steals it back. He's having a monster of a game, spilt by Heavey. The conditions make it that bit more difficult. Emmett McKenna gave it back to Heavey. Running onto it, Purcell. Purcell in hot pursuit is Carl O'Mahony, but he gets his shot away anyway. Purcell That's a great point for Castleknock in every possible sense.
Yeah, from a technical point of view, as a manager or coach, you'd be giving out to him all day long, because he was actually going in every opposite direction he should be going nearly to hit the ball, but he put the ball over the bar, so you have to give him credit. He was going backwards and over his shoulder, but good score.
Fantastic score by Purcell, the captain, playing a real leader's role there. Really grown as a player in recent years. He's really come into his own. Speaking of which, here's James O'Brien. O'Brien zips it over.
Yeah, you're right, Hushy. You've said it a few times about him. He looks dangerous every time. Like, he's a small man, but geez, when he gets the ball in hand, he's loads of pace as well. And I'm surprised so far that they haven't worked the ball through the lines to allow O'Brien and that to make those diagonal runs so they can get on ball better.
Chasing after it, Boyle. Boyle balances, has Sawyer there. Owen Sawyer, the All-Ireland under-20 football winner with Offaly. Sawyer! Good save. And there was no one following it up. Neil Hogan maybe could have chased in after it, but he didn't, and it's cleared by Faughs. The intensity is up, the noise level is up.
Well, like, you're training all year, Oisín, no matter what anybody thinks about whether they'll be able for next year or not, like, you're training all year to get back to Senior A, or for Castleknock to get up to Senior A, for Faughs to get back to it, and there's a lot on the line now for both clubs and both managements and I suppose parishes, and it's seen as the ultimate, I suppose, to get there. And for Castleknock, a new young team, like you said earlier, it's I suppose their aspirations were to get back to Senior A.
I'm just wondering, was that James O'Brien point given? Because they were 1-8 at half time. It still says 1-8 on the scoreboard. Is that the right score? It was actually wide, as was that. So James O'Brien still waiting for his first score. Hogan. Here is James O'Brien. O'Brien spilled it into the path of Carlo Mahoney. Ball pops out. Croke tries to poke it forward. Also in there battling is Emmett McKenna. Heavey now joins the battle and takes the ball, and it's a free out.
Yeah, third man tackle. It wasn't actually the man who, when he won the ball on the ground, it was probably silly in hindsight from Emmett that he just kind of collided with the Castleknock man, which meant that the third man tackle caused a free down for Castleknock. I tell you, for the conditions that are there now, there's a lot of hits going in, and you can see now it's definitely got a lot more physical in the second half. Similar to last night as well. Like, you look at last night, like, Ballantyre were so unlucky as well, and the kind of game that a lot of extra time, and fairness to Whitehall, they pulled it off, and Paddy Spellis had a great free at the end. O'Donnell did well. The younger of the O'Donnells, young Gannon as well, like, but that's a great take.
Kilkenny hits it wide, good take, but just couldn't apply the finish.
Like, you have to remember, I suppose, Whitehall as well, they've Dara Gray, senior hurler, Owen O'Donnell, senior hurler, Cormac Costello, like, young Spellis has played underage, O'Donnell as well, underage for Dublin. So, like, there's a lot of competition at that level as well, and look, all those clubs are proud clubs that they want to get back senior hurling again.
Cleared by Sean O'Brien. Looking down the line for Brennan. Goes out of play, line ball for Castleknock. Just one score so far in the second half. It's best described as tight. Don't forget, coming up, the Senior 1 semi-final, the Battle of Nafina and Coola. Kilmacud Crokes awaiting the winners in the final. Crokes and Nafina both still going for a double. A treble in Crokes' case, because they won the ladies' football final as well.
Yeah, I was chatting to Tom Ryan there coming in at the gate earlier on, and he was saying, like, if Nafina were to beat Coola today, the pairing of football and hurling being the same, would that be the first time ever? There's one for Oisín, the stats man.
You should have tried to sting Dara with that one, not me. I was actually thinking about it last night, and when you think of it as well, Nafina got into the Camogie final, so they could have been on for a treble as well. So these clubs are doing something right.
And look, that's the comment that was made last night, and I was serious when I said it, that people talk about these super clubs, but like they're super in regards to numbers. Like the numbers that they have are phenomenal. That there's subscriptions and people that are involved with the club, but there are super people involved in all these clubs as well that are driving games, and from a female and male perspective. So credit where credit is due, and even these clubs today, you can see athletically wise they've done an awful lot, but there's a massive step up from this to where Senior A is at the moment.
Well, Colin Foley has come in for Faughs. That's Neil Hogan. He was hooked brilliantly. Kieran Brennan, the goal scorer for Faughs, has gone off. He's been replaced by Foley. Who's the ball going to fall to here? Comes to Emmett McKenna. The conditions aren't helping, but it's not what you call the most skillful second half, but it is an intriguing battle. Good turn by Sawyer. He can get goals. Might settle for a point this time. He does.
Yep.
His first of the game.
Kilkenny's starting to come into it a small bit more now as well, which is what you expect, but good score again by young Sawyer, and it's very tight, similar to last night. It's very, very tight here now, and I think a team that gets a goal here now could have a massive say in the end result because of the type of day that it is.
And we're all square. First time that we've been level since the start of the match. James O'Brien in a crowded area, still got a shot away. It's going to be more like a dropping ball inside than a shot, and that's spilled over the line. Just not happening for Faughs so far in the second half.
No, you're right. Look, you couldn't sum it up any better than that. It's just not happening for them. Like, they're trying very hard. They look dangerous up front, but Castleknock are battling, and physicality wise they look maybe a small bit bigger, and I think that's telling now in the conditions as well.
Eventually gathered. Gets the ball in, Liam Mostyn. Castleknock had a man waiting for it. That man was Davy Bowen. He's looking to pick the pass to Niall O'Callaghan, but it's intercepted by Fergal Heavey, who leaves it short. Keeper has to be careful, and is Roland Conway. Good work. Looking for Purcell. Carl O'Mahony takes it. O'Mahony looking for Faughs first of the second half. And he's got it.
Yeah, good score. Good score, and an important score as well, because
Conor O'Shea, beg your pardon, sorry.
They needed that. Conor's having a fine game there now as well.
Neil Hogan, blocked down. Hogan gets it back again, but then it's taken away from him. Croke looking for O'Brien, doesn't find him. Trying to get out to it there is Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon, nowhere to go. And it's a free out. Fitzgibbon left frustrated. O'Doolan clears it. Boyle is the target, as is Kilkenny. Line ball, Castleknock. I beg your pardon, Faughs. McVeigh. Kilkenny uses his strength really well. Relies on the football skills, but it was intercepted by Sean O'Brien. Jack McVeigh sends it away. Waiting for it though was Sean Ryan. Moved it on to Purcell. Purcell sees that there's a player in space. That player is Neil Hogan. Hogan. Will it climb enough?
No.
Well, it does, but it's wide. It had the height, didn't have the accuracy. He's battling away, Neil Hogan. He's dropped deeper in the second half. He's up against Conor O'Shea there, and he has won the free.
Jeez, every free seems to be going Castleknock's way now at the moment, and just even when Kieran got the ball at the time, like it just kicking the ball forward on a day like that, it just doesn't work. He just looks a little bit off what he could be, but I suppose, like we said earlier, it's just trying to get that hurling back into him again.
O'Callaghan. Kilkenny allows it to beat him. McVeigh stuck to him as he has been all day. Great steal.
Yeah, he did a fine game, Ush.
O'Brien drops deep, collects it. Great bit of skill. Goes to ground, free in.
This boy could be in trouble now because it was right across the arm, but
yellow card, Neil Hogan.
I suppose you have to allow for conditions there as well today. Like, it is so wet out there, and the rain is falling, and it's going to impact the second game too. But just so far as the second half, like, it's been quite dull so far, and I suppose there's so much on the line that one score or two scores could make a huge difference to that whoever's going back senior A.
Well, this is Carlo Mahoney who's dropped deep. Does it have the legs? Yes, it does. It runs all the way over. That's a monster score from Carlo Mahoney. A big score as well. His first of the second half. 2 in a row for Faughs.
Yeah, Faughs bringing in a sub now. It looks like Kieran Brady.
And heading off is Emmett McKenna.
Kieran Brady, he was with us in 16, I think, just in our panel as well with Dublin. So I'm actually surprised that he wasn't playing or wasn't starting. So he's loads of ability, big strong boy as well. So
yep, transferred in from St Anne's a couple of years ago. Can play anywhere. Brady, an operations manager, straight into it, taking the line ball. His project today, get Faughs back up to Senior 1. O'Mahony. O'Brien. O'Brien was juggling. It looked to me like his arm was being held. The referee agrees it's a free. Well, he's indicating push, but either way it was a foul. Sometimes you get away with that as a back, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, you can see the celebration now, even of small things like line balls and points. Like, I would imagine, Faughs management, they won't, look, it frustrates me as a manager sometimes. People say, geez, you played so well but you didn't win. Like, it's all about winning today for either of these clubs to get back, if that's what they see themselves as for next year for Senior A. But they just haven't shown the, and I go back to the idea of the break, the 3 or 4 or 5 week break. That's something that probably needs to be looked at. It's similar in other counties too, where you end up getting a break after being successful in the initial stages of championship, and sometimes that has gone against teams.
Carlo Mahoney sends it over. 2 in a row for him, 3 in a row for Faughs, and now they're back in charge. 3 points is the lead with 13 minutes to go. Is it fair to say that today we have finally made that massive jump back into winter hurling, especially in the second half with this rain?
Yeah, maybe today, like last night was lovely here, it was a really kind of frosty, kind of nice evening for hurling, but yeah, today's day, and it's going to impact the second game as well massively. So yeah, I'd say that's what's ahead for the next few months.
Cian Boyle slaloming through, but took too many steps, and it's a free out and a full-on fist pump from Carlo Mahoney.
Yeah, good tackling back. Young Boyle probably disputes that. But again, great battling from Faughs half back line, and again I go back to Conor O'Shea, he seems to be calling everything there as well, and I've been very impressed, I have to say, today as well with young McVeigh. He's done a good job on, very athletic boy, very well able to cover ground, and he's done a great job on Kieran Kilkenny.
Conor Chalk has come in for Castleknock, another one of the senior footballers who also plays hurling. Played underage in both football and hurling for Dublin. Has a lot of quality about him. Speaking of which, O'Dooling finds O'Callaghan. O'Dooling. Chalk getting into this straight away, but that's a great catch. Wonderful work by Kieran Brady. Another sub. Carlo Mahoney taking off. Look at that speed from O'Mahony. He moved it on to Croke. Croke
It's the score of the day.
Sends it over. That is the score of the day. His first.
That's what they're capable of doing. Like, and again, great pace, moving off the shoulder runner, coming onto it, and again avoided that tackle, let's per se, and then just put the ball over the bar.
Well, Castleknock drew level 11 minutes into the second half, but it's been all Faughs since. 4 scores in a row means that they now lead by 4. Choke couldn't make it stick. O'Brien. It is the day where that second ball is the all-important one, because there's not a whole pile of clean catches going on. Conor O'Shea could have gone for it, drops it in instead. Moston, or I beg your pardon, that's Niall Fitzgibbon. Swept forward by O'Shea. Took a dunt on the way, collected now by Paul Burke, but O'Shea hasn't given up on it. He is a leader in every possible sense, isn't he?
He's done well today, yeah. In fairness, young Brady's done well since he's come in too. He's won the first 3 balls that's come to him. That's important to lift that half back line.
O'Dooling. O'Mahony's waiting for it. O'Mahony turning and twisting, looking to get a shot away. He does, but doesn't get the score.
Yeah, somebody needs to cover for O'Shea now because he's gone out.
Conway went long, intercepted by O'Brien. O'Brien leaving O'Callaghan behind. Might take it on himself. He does take it on himself. That is a wonderful score.
Great score.
I held my breath for a second because I didn't know whether or not it was going over. I'm sure Faughs and James O'Brien were the same, but it has gone over and they're looking good now.
Yeah, good communication by young Brady as well. Who's sitting back at 6 now. He told him keep going, you've loads of space in front of you, and you'd love to see that as well. Like, rather than this just, like we said earlier on, stopping the feet, like keep the ball, keep your feet moving and going, and a good score over off his left hand side. Ronan
Conway, the goalkeeper, launched it, converted to a goalkeeper when Jack Banks emigrated. Played most of his hurling underage out the field.
Tackle.
Great tackling. Croak. He's fouled for Ian. Senan Forker gave a look around as if to say, what was that about? But the referee, he's not going to change his mind.
Yeah, in the space of a couple of minutes now, that's gone out to 5 points, and on a day like today, that's a big lead to take back in. Like, this free is important too because it sets them out to 6. I know that's the obvious one, but just keeps them within that kind of 2-goal bracket.
Castleknock, who won what was then called Senior B last year, but didn't go up because of the seeding and ranking system that was required. They were desperate to go back up this year, but it looks like it's going to be Faughs Day. It looks like it's going to be Faughs season, along with Whitehall, Colmkills. Yes, they have a final to play, but the main business for both of those clubs was to get up. Here's Carl O'Mahony. I
just don't think they're ready yet. I just don't think Castleknock are ready yet. They're putting huge work into their underage, but even looking at today, and look, they've had a good year, but I just think Faughs might be the team that are, I suppose, more ready, if that's the right term, to get back to Senior A. But they'll look. The jump up from this to where the Senior A teams are is colossal, and the work that will have to be done between now and next year will be huge for any team that goes back to Senior A.
Well, you're not seeing it, but we are. The Coola team have arrived. They're going to go behind the golf course end goal and do a bit of a warm-up. O'Shea, who could well be facing Coola next season in the championship. That's gone wide, came off the hand of Niall Fitzgibbon. Conway, still only 23, pucks it out looking for O'Callaghan, who flicks it on, but not to a teammate. It goes out for a line ball. Kieran Brady flicks off the stick of O'Callaghan, fell to his teammate. That teammate was Sean Ryan, chasing after it. Owen Sawyer using his pace to get there, but brilliant work again. Sean O'Brien got the stick in. It fell luckily for Conor Choke, who sees Boyle. Got a goal in the first half. They could do with another one now. A point will do for now.
There was a chance though, wasn't rushing to take him on. Like, he got the ball in his hand. Like, you've one man to beat. Good score, but I suppose had the opportunity if they want to get back into this, to take the man on.
Their first score since the 42nd minute, I beg your pardon. O'Brien couldn't make it stick. Castleknock ball.
you put Luke Swan in now for the last 5 or 6 minutes? I think I would. From what I saw as an underage level, I think he'd be worth a punt for the last 6 or 7 minutes, I think, for Castleknock.
Sean Ryan collects it, took it into traffic, got it back to him. Evan McSherry, he's really frustrated because he miscued that one. Mostyn, we know he can turn and shoot. Little shimmy. Good work from Kieran Murphy.
Yeah, good tackle. Brady's done well. That's 4 balls he's been on now since he's come in, so I'm sure Johnny and the lads in Faughs would be happy with the contribution he's made as a sub, and with a view to maybe possibly looking forward to a final with Whitehall, which will be another big step up, I think.
I think the issue with Swan is that he has been injured, did his ACL in the final last year, has only kind of come back recently, so I'm not sure he'd be able to come in. I can understand what you're saying if he was in any way fit, but he may not be. We don't know where he's at in his recovery. But yeah, he had a stellar underage career. Owen Dalton has come in for Castleknock. Luke Swan was a Electric Ireland minor star winner while playing for Dublin.
Yep. I look at Kilkenny, he's been absolutely, since the time the ball was thrown in, in fairness to Jack McFay, he's been, I'd say when Kilkenny wakes up tomorrow morning, McFay could be in the bed beside him, he's just been with him all day long.
Castleknock line ball. For all the struggles that they've had to score in the last 20 or so minutes, they're still in this one.
Yep.
Boyle with that. Well, they scored 1 point since the 41st minute. Hard to win any big game doing that. Colin Foley tried to collect it for Faughs. Croke roaming forward again. Flicked on brilliantly into the path of Liam Mostyn. Mostyn, if he can squeeze that one over, it's a mighty point. He hasn't been able to. Kilkenny drops deep. McVeigh following him all the way. Inside to O'Dooling. Moved on to Niall O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan looking for Sawyer, who can take and turn if he gets the right ball, but again, brilliant defending by Faughs. Conor O'Shea looking for his second of the second half. Conor O'Shea, a wonderful score by the Galway man.
Yeah, great score, and you can see it as well. Look, he's probably their leader down there as well, and he's driving the young lads on. And it's a great score. And again, look, they just seem to have that bit between their teeth now as well in the last few minutes. And it looks like they're going back to Senior A with a final to look forward against Whitehall.
Well, Dooling, that'll be some game, won't it?
It will, yeah. It'll be, I think, more evenly matched as well. Even though both clubs will celebrate the fact that, look, it's a cup, which is important. But I think that it'll be main aim achieved now for Faughs as a team if they can get back up and win today.
McVeigh drops it inside. Castleknock still have the players out there that can get goals. There's one of them, Cian Boyle, but he was heavily marked there. Goes to ground and he wins the free in.
Yeah, I suppose give credit as well. Boyle was really dangerous in the first half. We saw a couple of times, but it's been rare in the second half when he's got on balls. So he's obviously that role was given to in the dressing room at half time. Young MacDonald is probably the guy that was put, or Marshall, to be on him. So he's done well in the second half.
A very young team, Castleknock. They'll learn from this experience. They're not done yet, but it's looking unlikely that they'll be in Senior 1 next year. He drops it in, batted off. Hogan, collected by the goalkeeper. Well, that was a strange sequence. It fell to Hogan. He made contact, but not enough contact. Intercepted here by Senan Forker. O'Dooling clipped it inside, but Heavey was there. Castleknock trying to get the score that'll get them back into this game. It probably has to be a goal because they're running out of time. Intercepted again, might fall. Boyle hasn't given up on it. He's got O'Dooling up with him. Kicked away there by Gavin Kenny, and the free out awarded. They've got a nice mix of lively young players and old dogs, and I think it's fair to say that Gavin Kenny and I mean this in the nicest possible way, counts as an old dog.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I suppose when it kind of turned into a little bit of a war in the second half, in fairness to Faughs, they stood up. And look, credit to management too, the change they made at half time kind of curtailed any of the movement that Castleknock had inside. Kieran Kilkenny was well marshalled by young McFay for most of the game, and again when they look, it was always the case where maybe the first 10 minutes of the second half it just wasn't working for Faughs, and I think Brady's made a difference coming in, and I think the subs that they've made have made a difference, which gives them a headache maybe leading into a final.
Liam Mostyn has gone off on the far side. Jamie Maloney has come in, and that's the ceiling score. Faughs will play in Senior 1 in 2023. Well, Niall Fitzgibbon, he's worked hard since coming in. He deserved that score. I won't say it's time to relax, but it's soon time to celebrate for Faughs.
O'Shea again wins the puck out.
Croke. Hope his dad got some good shots today, David Croke's dad. He's the club photographer. And that's sailed over. Another fine score. They're seeing it home in style.
Yeah, it's a great day for them as a club as well, and they'll know themselves the step up is huge, and for Castleknock, like you said, they're a young team, and I suppose going forward now, they'll apply their trade again next year in Senior B with an aim to try and drive on next year and bring the young lads through at a higher level. But for Faughs, you have to commend management, you have to commend the people that are involved. I hope nothing silly here knows happening, but again, it's a big day for them to get back to Senior A. But I think anybody that would know Dublin hurling would have expected Whitehall and Faughs to get back up, whether it was based on ratings or whatever it was for how the whole system worked. But Whitehall and Faughs going back to Senior A next year. Jake
Moore getting that last score. It's his 4th year playing senior hurling. His 5th will be at the top level. Kilkenny taking on all comers and winning the free in. Well, they have to drop it in. 8 behind and running out of time. Boyle into the mixer it goes, batted away by the goalkeeper. There was a stray hurley, it's a free out. Nothing too vicious, more clumsy than vicious.
You can see Coola down behind the goal for those at home. Coola down behind the goal. They tend to kind of rent that area for when they're getting ready for games, and in big games in Parnell and over the course of the last couple of years. So there's a ding-dong game coming up now in a while on Dubs TV as well with themselves and the FINA.
That's correct. In the go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 semi-final, Kilmacud Crokes awaiting in the final. James O'Brien sends it forward. Falls for Boyle. Side netting. This could be the last puck of the game. Can't remember too many delays in the second half. Referee doesn't have the whistle in the mouth though. It indicates we might get 1 or 2 more plays. O'Callaghan, one of the Castleknock players who's worked incredibly hard today. Well, they've all worked hard. They've just been beaten by a better team. Boyle chasing after it. He's shadowed by Sean MacDonald. The full back line and the half back line for Faughs have been immense, haven't they?
They have. Young MacDonald's done really well in the second half, on Boyle. Boyle is a fine young player, but MacDonald stuck to him like glue in the second half, and came up along the line there as well. Very brave.
And he looks like one of the old dogs I mentioned, but it's actually his first year playing senior. He's another one who did his leaving cert in the summer. Maloney to put the icing on the cake, and Maloney taps it over. Well, it's nice for any sub to get in and play their part. It's especially nice for them when they get a score or two, and that was a good one from Jamie Maloney, who's actually a Tipperary man who transferred up from Clonulty Rossmore, and next year, like his teammates, he'll play Senior 1 hurling. Congratulations to Faughs who go up the scoreline in the semi-final, 118 to 19. Joe, they absolutely deserved it. They were the better team, weren't they?
Yeah, they were the better team, Oisin. There was a 10-minute spell in the second half, I thought, where they were struggling a small bit, but the changes management made, you have to be happy at half time. Young Boyle was causing problems in the first half when he got that goal as well, but McDonald stuck well to him in the second half. I actually thought, I suppose he was one of my own in 16. I thought Brady did well when he came in, but credit to Faughs management, the changes they made, and look, they are the better team, and I suppose over the last 2 days we've seen they'll go back up now with Whitehall to Senior A hurling next year, and look, Oisin, let's not be under any illusion as well, it's a huge step up for where they're going. And it's a big learning curve now over the next while in regards to their own setup and training about what's going to be needed to try and maintain that status next year again at Senior A level. But look, congratulations to them today. You have to take your hats off for the work that's been done.
You wonder if Castleknock had Swan available. We mentioned that he's part of the squad. He was on the bench, but he's still coming back from injury, so the chances of him being available and the chances of him being himself, if that makes sense, were fairly slim. But look, Faughs will argue that Chris Bennett also was missing for them, so both teams missing players. But Faughs defensively were on top throughout. Castleknock struggled to get scores, and well, I guess that told in the end.
Yeah, and look, they're just, Castleknock are not at that level yet, and you can see there's glimpses at times where Faughs show that they've potential there. And look, it's a big day. I suppose it was a bit different yesterday. Yesterday was such like high octane till the very end, and I suppose Faughs knew from the last maybe 10 minutes or so they could relax a small bit and enjoy the fact that some of the subs were coming in and making a difference. But look, there's proud people involved in both clubs, and I know Frank Bennett, who's Chris's dad. I would have dealings with him over the years with his son Jeff, and look, it's a huge day for them to get back up after how the grading system worked. So well done to all involved in Faughs. But there'll be other days for Castleknock. They're a young club, young guys, and some lovely young hurlers there as well, but it's just that bridge too far for them yet.
Okay, let's have a look at the highlights of the second half. A second half that was slow to start.
Yeah, slow to start. The first 10 minutes, and maybe it was what we said at half time. There was going to be a couple of harsh words. Castleknock came out, I thought, did well in the first 10 minutes, but just didn't really get the scores on the board. Boyle was well marshalled. That was a great score over his shoulder. As we said, just technique wise was probably a bit off, but he got it. And they did for the first 10 minutes look like they might cause Faughs problems, but they just didn't get anything out of maybe a couple of the big players up front that they probably expected on the day. And like you said, I would have rated Luke Swan very highly coming up along, and would have hoped that we weren't going to lose another one to football maybe, but he's just been unfortunate with injuries.
He has indeed. Castleknock had a decent start to the second half. They were decent. Purcell got their first point, then Sawyer got the second, and we were 1-8 apiece at that stage, and Faughs had, I won't say lost their way, but they were struggling to score. But then Conor O'Shea with this big moment for them, and after that they never looked back. After that, Castleknock only managed one score, whereas Faughs got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 1.
Yeah, and again, that's O'Shea led the kind of fight for. There was a 10-minute spell, like we said, and O'Shea won one or two balls, got a score himself, and like I said, I thought Kieran Brady kind of solidified that half back line as well, which allowed Conor to push forward. And again, that all comes down to good calls by management too. Look, you can see the despondency there in Castleknock going off. It's hard because you get so far and you get so close, but unfortunately, the day that's in it, like you said there now as well, Faughs just curled away, and as we can see from the replays, it was just score after score for that last kind of 15-20 minute spell.
Senior 2 champions last year, Castleknock, but the way the seedings and the regrading system worked between Senior 1, 2 and 3 and all that, they didn't manage to get up. It's not to suggest that they won't be back, it's not to suggest that they can't do it next year. They have a lot of young players, and as we say, 1 or 2 to come back as well. He had a fantastic game, didn't he, James O'Brien? And it was worthy of his point. He probably could have had 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, O'Brien's a fine player. Again, physically needs probably a bit more development, but he's a fine player, loads of pace, and well capable of striking off both sides as well. His left side is lovely. So yeah, like they've got some young players coming through, and I'm not surprised because they've had players involved with minors and 21s or 20s over the last couple of years as well. So as a club, they're really putting a platform in place for, and look, you have to commend like Conor O'Shea too, who's kind of, I don't know what you call him, the old dog or something, but he's driving. He's definitely driving some of those young lads forward.
And the qualification for being an L dog you don't actually have to be old. You just have to be able to, the way the guy he'll always get the block on or the hook on, or he'll always just be physical in the tackle.
Yeah, you can see the cornerback, young McDonald, did really well where that ball went in for the, they were trying for goals at the end, put the body on the line, and I get it. No, it's credit to them. They've fought hard, and I'd say as well, Oisin, that spell between, had to be well managed by Johnny and that involved with Faughs. It had to be well managed where they were getting competitive games. Like you said, the Carlow game probably gave them a good, I know they were over in Clare as well. So look, they'll have a big battle against Whitehall now, because Whitehall are full of inter-county football and hurling stars, so I'm sure Johnny and that will enjoy tonight, get back on the road then, and then look at the final in a couple of weeks' time.
The final to come, but this was kind of the big one, because winning today meant that you got back up, and that's exactly what Faughs have done. They are now a Senior 1 hurling team, and they'll play in the go-ahead Senior 1 hurling championship next season. They'll be up against the likes of Nafina and Kula, who meet next in the Senior 1 semi-final. Don't forget that will pop up automatically, as will everything else we do, if you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And of course, obviously, you can follow us on social media for everything that's going on in Dublin GAA circles. The final score: Faughs 118, Castleknock 1-9. Congratulations to Faughs. Hard luck to Castleknock. We'll be back in a few minutes with the semi-final. Kilmacud Crokes waiting in the final. Will it be Nafina or Kula who will play against them? We will find out today. That's coming up shortly. Stay with us.